and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today, the trusted choice for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday, and previewing and reviewing the latest shows from WWE, New Japan, AEW, and everything in between every Saturday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. And of course your host, James J, alongside Kaliko Yachts.
What up, everybody? You getting ready for the crown jewel?
As we speak, it's probably going on, I think. Maybe.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like 30 hours ahead, so Jesus, it probably is on right now.
It's so far ahead. It's yesterday for us, but tomorrow for them. Wrap your head around
Exactly. Oh, that's the Biggie Smalls. Isn't it great? My flight lands at 8, your flight lands at 9, my game just rewind. Ooh. That's the old school.
And Scooter would be yelling at me right now saying, I hate that makes so much sense to me.
He would.
But it was a good week for Wrestling With as we interviewed Lord Philip Bryson on Monday, Pixel on Tuesday, and Anarchid Ash on Wednesday. Obviously all part of our 4-year anniversary of interviews. Obviously we started with Whiskey John 4 years ago, celebrating with Philip Bryson, Pixel, and Anarchid 4 years later. So whether you started listening to us this week or you've been hanging around for the last 4 years, thank you for listening to our interviews. We're gonna keep up on it and we'll keep doing it. And if you haven't listened to those interviews already, definitely check them out in the archives now. That brings us up to this upcoming Tuesday. We have the Hatchet, Thomas Ramsey, on the show. A wrestler from Dubai, American actually. We talk getting some training from Cody Hawk, I should say. We talk about becoming the WrestleFest Dubai World Champion. Kaliko actually joins us for the first time in quite some time for an interview as well. You guys talk about music and Japanese pro wrestling, no?
I mean, it's not every day you hear someone say MERS. That's just put that tag in there.
And on Wednesday we have the ace of Finnish pro wrestling, Shameka. The former FCF champion. We talk about being the champion, being the first ever Finnish champion in Sweden. We talk about his tattoos, which are quite interesting to say the least. A little bit of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We talk about the first. I said that already. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of content in that interview. Definitely go check it out. But don't take my word for it. Here's some clips now.
Shinjuku Face, which probably holds maybe 300 people. And I don't follow DDT at all, but there was a bunch of dudes like getting naked and wrestling. It was weird. It was bizarre. And there was a friend of his there that told me that this is very much like a very small part of the pro wrestling population that enjoys this very heavy comedy wrestling. And one of the guys that wrestled on the show was a legitimate barbecue chef. And I ended up going to a barbecue restaurant with a couple guys that happened to be that guy's barbecue restaurant. a couple of days later. Then we also ended up going to a Dragon Gate show.
Speaking of tag teams, you almost had a tag team with Vegan Thunderbolt called the Wrestling Dicks.
Did I? What is this? I've never heard about this.
Hey,
Wrestling
it
Dicks.
came from you, so.
No, I think that must have been some kind of joke. But I know I would love to tag with Vicken. That's a thing. And but no, we didn't have that team coming.
Alright, and then on the 12th we have Ken Pyro. On the 13th we have Adrian Gomez. On the 19th we have Kiki Van Gogh, and on the 20th we have Cahagas. On the 26th, I believe, or 27th, Pete Phoenix. So November already heating up, and while it's getting cold, so you definitely want to keep up with Wrestling With as we get further down the month. And obviously keep up with us at Wrestling With E, both on Extra and Instagram, for who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and more. Alright, I believe we're done putting ourselves over, no, Kaliko?
We're never done putting ourselves over.
Well, WWE's done putting over some talent. It was not a great week for pro wrestlers, but a great week for wrestling fans, as we are wrestling with the news. And a big part of this news yesterday, it was confirmed that Baron Corbin has been released from WWE, or at least they're not renewing his contract. With him comes Tegan Knox and Indy Hartwell. Tegan Knox, another one on the milk carton, honestly. What are your thoughts on them finally releasing Baron Corbin after all this time? It kind of seemed like he was a full lifer at one point.
It was interesting because him and Gable were the guys who would like listen, right? So it's not like I think it's just like after because keep in mind when he was homeless, when he had lost everything, he was homeless and everything. That was because getting over.
Oh yeah.
It was just it's just after that, and he got the money, and then it just after the lucky Corbin, as they call it, when he had lost, it just never fizzled. It fizzled after that, and then he just kind of fell by the wayside. But I don't consider his career as a failure because he came in and he was hot at one point, like Goldberg. In NXT.
Okay.
In NXT, he started out hot, and then they turned on him, and then he was floating, and then he got there, and then he lost everything. Then he got over. Then he got rich. Then this is about to be Roman Reigns.
Yeah. Before Jey Uso, he was the last person to beat Roman Reigns in 2019.
I mean, I don't see his as a failure because he literally did everything that they wanted him to do.
Except to get over.
I mean, but that, you can't control whether the crowd likes it or not, right? You give him what you're giving, and he's done the best of what he can do.
Sadly, he is Kurt Angle's last match as well.
Sadly, man, everybody goes out like Ali lost to some bums in his last fight. Like, come on, man. Everybody happens to do that. but I don't consider this a failure. I think if he continues the wrestling and he's in the Indies, I'm pretty sure he'll be a great heel, and he can build his stature that way. Tegan, I feel sorry for her because her body just betrayed her. It was like she tore ACL, but she came back, and then she tore the ACL. Like, damn. It was just bad timing. It was her body. Her body betrayed her big time. And that's just something like, I just want her to be healthy first and foremost than anything.
I don't even think that she was out the last when all of that happened the first time she got released. I think she was healthy this time around. They just
this time around is just, but the problem is when you're ACL tear is 6 to 9 months. And you come back and tear it again at 6 to 9 months. That's like giving it 2 years on the shelf. You know what I'm saying? So you don't really get any momentum whatsoever. It's like if a basketball player tore his ACL and then he came back, played 2 games, and then tore his ACL again. Like, you can't get any traction because you're spending more time in rehab than character development.
Yeah, but I mean, they tried to do something with her and Becky Lynch this time last year, and it just failed miserably. You know, I don't think she ever really got her. She never had that connection with the WWE fans. They never got.
And that's my point. It was due to she was injured. Like, you can't build a connection if you spending more time trying to get healthy.
You know, I always.
It's like you can't get a like that, because keep in mind, that's not just her getting connection with the fans. It's her getting connection with the locker room, her getting connection with talent, getting her connection with the writers. You know what I'm saying? So all of that, like, I can only imagine, because I think the last 2 years were, I mean, when she tore her ACL twice, that was probably the most miserable time for her. Like, because she felt isolated.
And you know, it's kind of weird because when she first came to WWE for the Mae Young Classic, she was winning that tournament. Like they put all their eggs in the Tegan Knox basket, and obviously, you know, she got hurt literally in that tournament. And who reaped the rewards of that? Rhea Ripley. She was the match that she got injured in. I mean, I don't think it was Rhea's fault that she got injured. But I mean, Rhea obviously went on to be arguably the biggest women's wrestler we have today, and Tegan Knox fell so far below the waistline that we can't really see her anymore. So
I get that part, but I wouldn't say. That's why I said. That's why I said she became a victim of her body betraying her. Because I don't think it was her talent. It was just timing. Her body just betrayed her big time. Because the odds of getting tearing your ACL twice in 18 in a year is crazy. That's crazy.
Well, what about Tegan? Not Tegan Knox. What about Indy Hartwell? I felt like she always had upside, but
she had upside.
Yeah, but never really got a chance to connect with the crowd. Obviously
other than the Dexter shit.
Yes, but I'm talking more on the main roster side of things. I mean, she survived that first NXT purge that they had. Got the championship and then had to relinquish it because they wanted her on the main roster. So, I mean, she had, you know, a pretty up and down, you know, career. And then they had her on the main roster, but then they didn't do anything with her on the main roster. I feel like putting her with Candice LeRae was just like a death sentence to her, because she could have done so much better on her own, because her personality would have shined. But they locked her back into the way, gimmick that had no feet under it, because nobody was aware of what the way was, because it was WWE and not NXT.
Well, it was NXT, not WWE.
Yeah. So, if there was anybody that I could see maybe coming back from these three, I would hope that it was Indy, because I do think that she may have had more to offer WWE. She just didn't get the chance. But maybe then again, maybe because we already have one Australian on top, we don't need another. Who knows?
No, that's not how that works. But anyways, because otherwise, JD McDonough and Bladder wouldn't be on the top of the tag division.
I mean, they're Irish. They're not Australian.
That's my point. 2 Irish on top. Anyways,
But who else is Irish that has a belt right now?
who else is Irish?
Sheamus.
Sheamus has a belt?
No, but Sheamus is Irish.
Yeah, but Sheamus is shit. He's done more than anybody on the pitch. But
Very true.
I think Indy should just be. I think Indy, Baron, Tegan are all going to prove themselves. I think Indy and Baron are healthy enough to make that push. Tegan, I would just say let her get help. I pray that she's healthy enough for her. Oh, let me rephrase that. I hope her body is better to where it can endure such a step.
I think Tegan is going back to Wales or Dolphin or Shark or whatever country she comes from.
What, with her wife?
Huh?
With her wife? She married.
Does she live in America?
She lives in America. They live in Orlando, but the wife, yeah, I would think so.
Well, I think we'll see her on the Indies. Baron Corbin, if he's feeling froggy and wants to continue pro wrestling, I definitely see a TNA title run in his future.
Really?
I'm not joking. and don't pretend like you don't think it either. Well, speaking of title,
well, hold on, let me see.
Yeah.
Tegan Knox said some things are just out of your control, and you can only do as much as you can. Let's clear one thing up. I'm ready. I've been ready. Just have to show people what they missed. And that was my point. It wasn't. It was just more her being hurt a lot that killed her.
Right.
Because think about it. If you're on a contract for, I mean, just say 3 years. Just to say you got a contract for 3 years and 2 years you're injured. Any athlete with a contract like that, you're gonna be like, well, I don't want to resign you because I don't know if your body can endure. It's kind of like when Finn got that treatment, but he just didn't get released because remember he tore when he fucked up his shoulder and he had the title, and it's been cricket since. And everybody's like, what the fuck, right?
Yeah.
But they just had to believe that his body could endure it, right? Believe that he can take that.
I mean, he's been pretty good as of now, but also keep in mind he's been primarily in a tag role.
Right. And even then, he didn't get taken that much serious until he had the NXT run.
The rerun.
The second run.
Yeah.
Beating Adam Cole run.
Yeah. we're keeping up with title changes. Chris Jericho won the Ring of Honor World Championship from Mark Briscoe about a week ago.
About a week ago.
Yeah.
You don't listen to Bobby Shmurda, do you?
I don't.
God damn it. Oh gosh, see, Scooter would have caught that big time. About a week ago.
Probably. He probably would have. But Chris Jericho won the championship. Kind of glad that he did it on a random Dynamite rather than, the paid preview. I could make the argument he didn't need another title run, but there is maybe a reason for that. And the reason being is they're trying to get Ring of Honor back on TV. And obviously, when you're talking to TV networks, you need a big name attached. And, despite all of his fallbacks these last couple of years, Chris Jericho is still a big name. As much as I hate to say it, it is kind of the right move if they do actually get on TV. That being said, what would you see Ring of Honor on TV right now? Because it's pretty diverse what we got on pro wrestling and on TV channels. I mean, Raw's gonna be.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, are they?
Yeah.
First of all, are they separate? I don't get this whole thing. Are they their own thing? Are they a thing under AEW? I just don't understand what they are. Because the assumption is when they bought ROH was that ROH was just essentially AEW developmental.
Right.
But they didn't treat it that way. They didn't treat it that way because of if that's the case, Athena should be on the fucking women's roster right now in AEW.
I mean, I feel like Ring of Honor is like the land of the lost toys. Quite literally, because Tony treats his talent like toys.
The land of the lost. I don't want to play with you anymore.
I just got Bobby Lashley. You're going to Ring of Honor.
Oh God! Don't you dare put Bobby in it.
We'll talk about that in a bit, but there is low key, and Ring of Honor has, in some regards, better talent than the AEW roster has. Obviously on the women's side with Athena and Billy Starks, we're a little partial to Billy Starks, obviously. But I would really like to see Billy and Athena finally get some shine and spotlight because, like I said, they're wrestling in the woods right now. They're doing it, but nobody's really seeing it. That being said, what channel would you say we would see a Ring of Honor on? Because we got NXT on CW, SmackDown on USA, Dynamite on TBS, and the Saturday one, Collision. Yeah, Collision on TNT. So definitely a lot of wrestling on a lot of different channels. Oh, and a TNA on Access. Can't forget TNA. So what channel would you say that you would see Ring of Honor on?
I don't know. I'm playing it like shit. It's like, where would they be? I would think it would be a supplement of TBS. I would think it would stay in that family, but I mean,
the last we heard, they were trying to get another AEW show on Fox. It's something called Shockwave, which is obviously not Ring of Honor. So that wouldn't really mean that there was 4 AEW produced shows a week on broadcast TV. No?
I mean, it's just a shame that ROH is like where it is. But I mean, at least he's trying. But the thing is like, what channel would he go to where it shows everybody? I mean, ROH would have been a cool CW spot.
Oh yeah.
But NXT beat him to the punch, and so I'm trying to think what's channel like that is not cable. I mean, they're not going to Fox, they're not going to NBC, they're not going to ABC, they're not going to. And that's the problem because they get stuck in those spin-off channels, as they say, and you don't want to get caught into that.
I mean, this sounds maybe stupid, but Discovery?
You might as well put them on TLC if you're gonna put them, if that still exists.
I think TLC still exist.
I'm trying to think. MTV maybe.
Only
If they
they're
still
16
show
and pregnant.
MTV, or the Real World Road Rules Challenge. It damn sure ain't gonna be BET. I mean, those channels are owned by them. Cartoon Network, I don't know. VH1.
What about the Food Network?
Oh, Jesus Christ. No.
Who?
Home and Garden.
Athena versus Bobby Flay. Who would pay a ticket to see that?
No, Athena and Flip Your House. That's Flip This House. Buy or sell it. Love it or list it. I'm trying to think. I can't. It is tough. I mean, they can do FS1? FS2? ESPN Deportes? Bro, I'm ESPN Ocho. I'm picking straws at this point, sir.
I mean, let's say that they get one of these terrible channels. Would it even make a difference in, like, viewership? Like, would they be happy with that?
It wouldn't. No, it wouldn't because of the simple fact that they do all the damn tapings all at the same time, so it don't even matter.
I mean, with that logic, just put it on YouTube.
That is not a bad idea.
I mean, NWA was never as popular as it was when it was a 45-minute
on
show
YouTube.
on YouTube.
When it was on YouTube, it was like hot shit.
Yeah. So, I'm still, obviously, if it does come to tuition, then obviously making Jericho the champion was the right thing to do on their side of things. But if it just kind of falls short, then obviously give the fucking belt back to Mark Briscoe.
I ain't giving that belt back to Briscoe.
Somebody else that got tag team titles, Private Party. On Dynamite this week, they won the tag team titles off the Young Bucks. One might say it would have been a better moment to do it at the paid preview, but clearly nobody told that to Tony Khan, no?
Can I just say for the record, I think that AEW's been they've been recording our conversations, because how many times I've been yelling private party? I've been like a private party, like, where are they? And Tony was like, here they are, motherfucker. But anyway. But it's good for them. They needed it bad. It's just crazy. My only gripe is that you say wins and losses matter, and you didn't her private party up, and the Bucks just happened to lose it. And the backstory that I'm hinting at is that the Bucks are going to be the reason that that John Moxley and them go down eventually. So I guess they're going from being EVP heroes to EVP saviors.
I have no idea, if I'm being honest. When it comes, I don't understand the Young Bucks' logic. And I don't quite understand this as well. If WWE made a title change on Raw rather than, a PLE, you could make the argument that it's going to be seen by more people, which would be accurate. But when AEW does it, isn't it seen by a lot less people? I think that their viewership went down to like maybe 3 million, and a half empty arena. So I don't quite know what the crowd reaction was for them.
It was popped. It popped.
Okay.
It was a pop. I saw it. It was a pop.
So I'm glad that they got the pop.
They cared. People cared.
I'm glad they got the pop, but it could have been a bigger pop. It could have been a Jey Uso winning the title pop.
But you're insinuating the fact that they don't build a story to make you care about them like they did with Jey Uso.
Right. But they could have built the story to that point, but they didn't.
Yeah, they got arrested.
Right. I mean, I do wish them the best, and I do hope that they do something with the titles. I think FTR replaced them on the milk cartons at this point. Or maybe
No. Now, next group, where's the girls? Where y'all at? I'm coming up. We bringing them all up, dude. Where's the girls? Y'all next.
So, yeah, we'll kind of see what happens with the tag division. If something significant happens, probably not, but, you gotta hope. And hope is all you really got when it comes to AEW at this point. Somebody that was hoping for more was Samantha Irving. Obviously the announcer of WWE for the last couple of years, left a lot of people shocked, covered it last week. She had mentioned that one of the reasons she left WWE is that WWE did not see her as anything more than an announcer. And she wanted to do more. I do believe I heard an interview with her, and she said she can, the wrestling side of things, the physical aspect, she can't necessarily do. She did fail at that, and she owned up to that. But she did seem more willing and eager and able to maybe do more than what she was given. What are your thoughts on if they could have done more with Samantha Irving in WWE than just, being an announcer?
I mean, what would have been an accurate role for her? Because when it comes to, she wanted to be a manager. And to me, there's two tiers when it comes to managers. And it's Paul Heyman and then everybody else.
I mean, you have to give somebody else a chance to try and get up to a Paul Heyman.
The thing is, but the problem is that even if you give them that chance, what are they going to do with it? Because, for example, like Scarlett, right?
Yeah.
Manager.
Is she
I
a manager
mean,
though?
you say what?
Would you classify her as a manager?
Yes.
I classify her more as a valet than a manager.
Valets are managers. What the hell are you talking about? What are we talking about?
No, valets that bring you to the ring. Managers get you matches and win you matches.
Bullshit.
Yeah, yeah. I'm definitely sticking with that.
Bullshit.
You know,
Because I've seen valets get motherfuckers matches. Like, stop.
you know,
Or get wrestlers. Shit.
having heard um uh Samantha talk in interviews, she is actually pretty charismatic. I mean, she has a pretty good personality. And the biggest problem with Ricochet was his girlfriend was getting more over saying people's names than he was actually pro wrestling. So, honestly, I would have played on that. Make her the manager. Make him the, what is his name? Mark Miro to her Sable. It would have done. It could have hurt. It would have got her over more. Maybe it would have done something for Ricochet. Who knows? But that's kind of. Definitely could have seen them do something like that and it actually working, because people wanted to see Samantha, and I mean not see her talk. I mean see Samantha. You know what I mean?
I mean, I get it, but I mean, and I think when the most action, I mean, personally, I would have thought the most action she got. If that was the case, it would have pulled her out of it when they got the whole Logan Paul thing.
Which they should have. They could definitely have pulled the trigger then.
Which is that's my ultimate point. I'm not saying that she's not talented. I mean, I will say this: her Twitter fingers, I would have leave that girl alone. But she had her reasons and she chose to leave. But I just don't think people taking it personally. You would have thought it was like the Falcons won a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl, but that's a whole. Why you got money on a parlay? But
yeah, people are definitely taking this way too seriously.
It is. I mean, all you can do is just keep that stuff in luck. One thing you can't do is control where people want to go. And she felt like she could do better elsewhere. Let her do better. It's up to her to prove everybody right or prove everybody wrong and prove herself right.
Oh yeah.
Now, when you say Ricochet's making millions, I'm like, bro.
Ricochet's definitely not making millions.
I mean, he might be. You never know.
Depending on what Tony's paying him, who knows?
I mean, Toy of the Week, whatever the month, and that didn't last long. Because then came Shelton, and then came Lashley.
Yeah.
And then came the Hurt Business. And it's like, Jesus Christ, I'm telling you, man, it's almost like they're just signing people just to see the shock value at this point.
I don't even think it's shock value. It's just to say we have them on our roster.
I mean, here's my thing. If Bobby Lashley is on that roster, what the hell is stopping him from being the champion? I mean, Shelton, you could have been like,
Orange
and the way
Cassidy.
that they were and the way that they were booking Shelton, holy, they had him looking like mini Bladder out that bitch. But
The only thing
and
that's
now,
stopping Bobby Lashley from being champion right now is Orange Cassidy, because he is 100% winning that title off of John Moxley.
really,
Yeah,
you think so?
you know, how surprised would you really be if they gave the title to Orange Cassidy? I mean,
It would
honestly.
be Darby. It's pretty Darby to me, but okay.
I mean, I don't even know what Darby's doing at this point, but yeah.
I mean, something. But
Let's I mean, we're talking about him, so let's talk about it. Bobby Lashley made his AEW debut, attacking Swerve Strickland after a match with Shelton Benjamin. Um, I don't see this going anywhere. If anything, I see Bobby Lashley as Ring of Honor champion in 6 months, and I bet he'll be the one to take it off Chris Jericho.
no, he'll be the AEW Continental Champion, beating Okada pretty
You think
tongue in cheek.
you think they'll give him Okada?
What is a they? I mean, if the Bucks are gone, what the fuck is Okada got to do?
I mean,
Because my impression is them losing the titles means they're flying off the radar, which means Perry and Okada's days are numbered.
I mean, maybe. I never really thought of it that way. I didn't think the Young Bucks was gonna go anywhere.
I think they're going somewhere. Because I think the problem is, as long as the Bucks were there, and the Elite being their EVP shit, and this Moxley shit took over it, they're gonna have to cross roads at some point.
So that means Bobby Lashley falls to the wayside.
No, they're just gonna keep doing the black on black thing, and then
Have him fight the House of Black.
have him beat up Swerve for a couple months, and so, which is gonna be crazy because that assumes Leo Rush is gonna come in this, and that's
Oh God.
hey, it can happen, bro.
On the opposite end of the spectrum, WWE. They want to do something new and different with Damian Priest. I mean, why wouldn't they? He's, a big star for them, trying to make him even bigger. Um, Whether or not you remember his entrance from WrestleMania 41, he wore a Vagigante mask, which is a mask of a demon from Puerto Rican legend. The name is a mixture of Bladder and Giant. So basically, they want Damian Priest to pee on people, which is basically Vince McMahon.
You think that they want Damian Priest to pee?
Well, I mean, you could Google it. I did it. But the Vagigante mask means giant bladder, and yeah, the demon pees on people. That part might not be true, but yeah, there's definitely bladder involved.
No.
So you're not behind a Damian Priest, Vince McMahon gimmick.
It is not. They're going to try to. Because Vince McMahon, I heard, is trying to start another entertainment company, but that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, that is actually accurate. Um, Vince McMahon is starting, and I quote, an entertainment hub company. They will be producing TV and movies, fiction and non-fiction variety. Nothing will be involved in nothing pro wrestling related. He's not competing with WWE, obviously. Um, and the headquarters will be out of Los Angeles. I find it interesting that Vince McMahon is starting a new project. While all of this is going on, but obviously the allegations against him, a new lawsuit a couple weeks ago from the Ring Boys from back in the 80s, put against him again. And I mean, we always knew that he was going to do something next. I didn't think it was going to be this soon. But I mean, it's been
Well, the work's keeping him alive.
Right. So we knew that he was going to want to work at some point. I mean, he is a workaholic. But what are your thoughts?
That is true.
What are your thoughts on Vince McMahon's new company he's making?
I guess he's trying to get into the entertainment hub streaming ish, which I mean, maybe I don't know. I guess he's trying to do whatever it takes to keep the feds off his ass, but they own him, bro.
I mean, they've been wanting him for a while.
I know. I mean, honestly, the work is what's keeping him alive. Me personally, if I had to think of it. But I mean, we'll see where it goes. I say he has major backing in capital, so we'll see where it goes. If it's the relaunch of the WWE network, I'm all in. Because please take that monstrosity away from Peacock. But
what are your thoughts on
just
what kind of TV and movies is he going to produce?
Booty Hang 3. No. Probably redo his own documentary. Like.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine that won't be on the bracket.
I feel like that's numero uno.
I can't imagine something.
Oh,
yeah, what?
Like, oh no, y'all didn't hear my story. Even though we heard his story, you just didn't fill in the blanks. But that's
right. Maybe a new version of No Holds Barred with maybe John Cena as the Hulk Hogan character?
Oh God, no.
Yes. This is what we need. And then obviously something involving hot lesbian action, no?
Or chocolate titties. Yeah.
I mean, we could have chocolate titties in the hot lesbian action.
Let him tell it, but it's I mean, but I would assume it would be something for like sports, because that's what the biggest moneymaker is when it comes to these like entertainment hubs.
Maybe we'll get a new bodybuilding federation like we almost had in the 90s.
Oh, that ain't happening. I mean, bodybuilding is not the thing it used to be.
It is?
Oh, no. No, I mean, more people care more about strongman. I can see him doing strongman competition.
Okay.
That seems more feasible than bodybuilding because, I mean,
Steroids.
have you ever seen them dudes do the Hercules hold? That bitch is, oof.
Well, it was well, I think whatever he decides to do, it's definitely going to have people looking at him. Um, Whether or not it's successful, obviously yet to be seen. But the Vince McMahon's track record with things that aren't pro wrestling hasn't necessarily been all that great. So, I definitely think that this is a wait and see type scenario for now.
Well, because because the thing is, those things are in markets where he doesn't control. Like WWE, he could have controlled it from the rooter to the tutor. He can't control the market when it comes to like bodybuilding first.
Right. And obviously he isn't.
Because there's an international governing body.
Keeping up on on the news, it was announced for, I believe it was Power Struggle. Kenny Omega will be making an appearance. Find it a little bit interesting that he's making. I don't want to say a return. I feel like that's a little premature. But making his first wrestling appearance, since he had surgery, not be AEW. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I mean, shit, just seeing him alive is a good thing, I would say.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, I mean, it just, and I think it'll probably be, I mean, of course, I wouldn't be surprised if him and the Ace gets at it because they were kind of like antithesis. He could always go back to Okada in AEW because he's there.
Yeah.
But it's the Tanahashi farewell tour. And he meant a lot to New Japan, so.
Well,
he's the one Gaijin that's probably the most popular.
Well, if you believe rumor and innuendo, he is coming to do something physical that will set up a Tanahashi and Kenny Omega tag team match against the Young Bucks on January 5th. Whether that has any weight to it, has yet to be seen. But Kenny Omega has made it pretty clear that it's not an if he's coming back, it's just a matter of when. And
well, the question is, why would he go against his homies?
I mean, because they kicked his ass the last time we saw him on AEW TV.
Oh yeah, that's right. They did fire.
Yeah.
Touche. Never mind.
So I mean, there is weight to the story there, and if he's able to come back in January, that's great for him. And I do feel like it would be a great match to test the waters. I mean, as much as we dislike the Bucks, I don't think anybody's accused them of being unsafe in the ring. And I mean, Tanahashi is pretty safe himself. So you're in there with 3 people you would be secure with, hanging with. So I feel like it would be his best option when it comes to, who he's in the ring with first. They kind of test the waters, no?
True. I mean, you wouldn't pick that would be a better group than some people that know him and can work within his limitations.
Right.
So why wouldn't he have to?
Definitely. So, um, somebody that just recently got on the injured list, Rhea Ripley. She broke her orbital bone earlier this week. Um, and there's no timetable for when she's coming back. I kind of feel low key. First and foremost, it's terrible that she got injured, and there's never a right time to get injured. But I do feel like they kind of didn't have a lot of places to go with her and Liv at this point until you get to Mania. So I do feel like it was maybe if there was ever a good time to get injured, it would be now because you could save Liv and Rhea for a WrestleMania match, whether or not she's ready by April. I don't see why she wouldn't be though. But what's your opinion?
I mean, he better deliver a baseball bat. A plus to get open. I think it's a good save. Timing, good timing, because Rhea was kind of in that floating, right? Because she kind of needs to get to Live, but she's lost to Live.
Could you repeat that? You're kind of breaking up.
Oh, well, she needed to get to Live, but the problem is she lost to Live. And that's
right.
The biggest she just needed. So that little break will give Liv some time to develop. Get more people chasing her, and the motherfucker from her past comes back and bite her in the ass.
Am I the only one that wants to see Lara Valkyria take on Liv Morgan? Have we forgotten about the Valkyrian girl with the broad feathers?
Oh, yeah. But she's getting married soon, so.
She's getting married?
Yeah, she's engaged, my guy.
To who?
I don't know, some guy.
Okay, well, congratulations to some guy.
I can't remember. Hey, when girls are famous, no one really cares who's the guy. Unfortunately, it's a sad reality. But yes, the guy. Yeah, he proposed. She said yeah, and yeah.
Like I feel like it's maybe bad timing on her part to get married because I mean there's an opportunity. If you're not in catering, they can't call you up. So.
I mean, I'm pretty sure she's still on the house shows. It's just a matter of whether they pull that trigger. But the thing is like, are they going to pull that trigger to get a title? No. And she's going to have to work her way up. So, yeah.
I mean, it gets eyes on you. And
then,
I mean, we haven't really seen Valkyria since she got squashed by Nia Jax.
True. But, I think there's a group called Damage Control that got some people that can fuck with her.
True. Alright, keeping up on injuries, TNA Bound for Glory was last Saturday. Chris Bay, got injured. A neck injury of all things. You don't necessarily know what he got injured on. But definitely thoughts and prayers to Chris Bay. I haven't heard that he wasn't able to compete anymore, but obviously his health comes first. So we'll see what happens there. And also El Hijo del Vikino, he beat Mike Bailey for the X Division Championship and he got a knee injury. Went to the hospital. Was healthy enough to actually fly down back home to Mexico to get specific treatment from his own doctors. So not a great night for TNA. Two wrestlers that they invested in getting injured, and yeah. What are your thoughts?
I mean, the speedy recovery shit happens. I'm pretty sure those were freak wild accidents, and hopefully speedy recovery for all of them. Although the ABC one, I mean, maybe that's why the Hardys won, because that shit was not coming. That shit came out of left field.
I mean, what came out of left field was that Joe Henry lost. So, I mean, you put a little bit of faith into TNA to make them hope that they would do the right thing, and they do the TNA thing and they fuck it up.
You really thought they were gonna do the man? I got practice of you, sir.
I mean, and I would take that crack if it meant TNA does the right thing. I mean, nobody's buying a ticket to see Dolph Ziggler. Everybody's buying a ticket to see Joe Henry. It makes no fucking sense.
Well, it's up to them, man. I mean, TNA's been the TNA.
That they are. And, let's see. Rhea Ripley, Bobby Lashley. WWE unveiled a new project, WWE ID. You go into your local DMV. You say that you want to be a WWE. You take a driving test, and you could be a WWE. No. ID stands for independent. And it's their way of bringing in independent companies and schools to foster new independent wrestlers. The first 4 schools to be a part of this is Cody Rhodes' Nightmare Factory, Booker T's Reality of Wrestling, Seth Rollins' Black and Brave, Rikishi's Nox Pro, and another company I'm not aware of called Elite Pro Wrestling. Those are the first ones a part of all of this. I don't think it's bad. I kind of feel like low-key WWE already had those relationships with these companies. It's just a matter of, making it official. So, yeah. Now that they got that brand on them, I can't imagine it's not going to attract more people. But I view it as a good thing. But what do you think about it?
I think it's kind of like, I mean, I can only speak for Max Pro because it's the way to keep their shows running. Because they have talent that I've seen, but then again, that's the Samoans, so y'all ain't for. If y'all thought y'all was gonna do this without all them Samoans, you crazy.
Oh, yeah.
But I it's crazy because they do have a Knox Pro graduate there that is actually making noise. J-Rod. So it'll be interesting how they develop her. She's been making her roles in the indies. And of course all the Fatus and Annoy Eyes and so on and so forth. But at this point, they're just trying to control the whole pipeline from wrestling school to NXT to WWE.
Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
It's like, I mean,
Well,
that's no different. The only reason I say it's not bad because it's no different than pro athletes having NFL camps for kids, and then they're going to the high school route, college route, and pro route. It's almost like they're just trying to check out the talent and try to pluck them from there to get them out of those quote unquote bad habits. Maybe.
well, I mean, look at it. I mean, look at it this way. If Riki, before all of this happened with this WWE ID,
Mm-hmm.
if Rikishi called WWE up and he said, "I got this girl," like you said, let's use J Rod as an example. "I got this girl named J Rod. She's the absolute shits. Could you look at her?" WWE wouldn't have taken that call. I mean, it's fucking Rikishi there.
True, but I also would think Rikishi would be a dude that'd be like, go out and get your wits about you.
I mean, it's not Rikishi personally. I'm just saying, in general. I mean, I could have used Cody Rhodes for the
But I'm thinking it's pipeline to tryouts.
Yeah.
Because either the NIL shit ain't working, or you know what I'm saying, something ain't working. Because usually the NIL.
Who did they
Because the NIL was.
NIL? They got Tiffany Stratton from that, right?
Was she in an NIL deal?
I mean, she definitely wasn't an independent pro wrestler before her run.
I mean, shit. But they had a couple of cats that had NIL deals, but I mean, she's a gymnast. I couldn't see her. Maybe, but I don't. But I would think that they just put her in as the just straight to the center. I wouldn't think that they would have did her like straight out of college.
That I have no idea.
Because they got some other cats that are there.
The NIL is, yes, you could get pretty good athletes from that, but not everybody's Kurt Angle. Not everybody's a fist toward her. Case in point, Gable Stevenson. I mean, he failed miserably. You kind of have to find the ones that are going to respond to it properly. I mean, I think the best example of that right now is Bianca Belair. So,
in current time, that was an athlete. I mean, her, Tiffy. Charlotte never wrestled until she got to WWE.
I mean, she's Ric Flair's daughter. There's that.
But the point still stands that she wasn't. It wasn't like she was out there indie scening it.
I mean, she was a part of Florida Championship Wrestling for a spell.
Yeah, but that was their pipeline to WWE. It wasn't like she did 10. It ain't like she did the Bailey route or the Ruby Riott route or the Tegan Knox route.
Oh, that's true.
Hell, the Oscar route. So they're trying to figure that out. And I think they're doing all that also for content sometimes. Because they're doing that whole John Cena next gen superstar shit. So,
which doesn't kind of get my hopes high on, the next generation, if I'm being honest.
I mean, it's just a matter of how they react with people, dude. It's just how it goes.
I mean, that we can agree on. But, I think if they get one superstar out of this, they'll be doing pretty well. But, I think that's just the process of elimination. You're always gonna get. If you get 1 out of 10, you're doing something good. If you get more than 1 out of 10, you're doing great. Ohio Valley Wrestling, 2002. You had Brock Lesnar, John Cena, Randy Orton, Batista, and Shelton Benjamin, all in the same class. So, yeah.
Yeah, so they trying to recreate that spark just from how they say from farm to market.
Yeah, something like that.
Because that's what they're doing. I mean, they're able to this person, and also it helps with the indie wrestlers too, because it's like they're learning how to wrestle in a safer way. Because sometimes you can be a creature of a bad habit. I'm surprised that the 3D Academy wasn't in this, but hey.
Those were the first ones announced. I can't imagine that more aren't going to be once we get further down the pipeline.
We'll see, sir.
But I absolutely think that you're right. If those schools are teaching the WWE way, they're going to be able to wrestle more safely, especially if they go, on the independent route and venture out of their schools afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking about the process working, Saba Odi Acapulco. He lost the NXT North American Championship to the guy in the sweatpants.
Tony D.
I don't know anything about his D, and I don't want to. Him losing the belt and losing the return match have got people wild up thinking that he's going to the main roster. Which makes sense. Usually when a NXT wrestler loses a major title, it usually means they're getting called up.
Exactly.
The thing that I found interesting is they wanna, if you believe rumor and innuendo, of course, they wanna bring Saba Odi to Raw, and I feel like that's not the best place for him. But I kind of feel we have monsters. Obviously Braun Strowman is injured right now. Can't really compete, but we have Bronson Reed on the roster. We have Otis. We have the Viking Raiders. I don't see where Oba would fit on there, but I feel like there's a lot of smaller guys on SmackDown that he could really throw around and get over and really show off what he's all about. What say you, Kaliko?
You gotta have the big men slapping meat, sir.
They had that, and Braun Strowman got hurt.
And that's what they want. They want more big men slapping meat.
So, you'd be okay with Oba Femi on Raw?
Yeah. Get her some squash matches. And,
who do you put him against?
I said squash matches. I didn't say.
No, but
he's gonna be.
he needs a rivalry at some point.
Eventually, but hey. Braun's there to get his ass kicked every now and then.
True. Another rumor was that he's the perfect person to take the title off of Tripp and make a run. on NXT as NXT champion. Is that something you
Uh,
would rather see?
um, it could work, but they did have that little thing with him and um, what was it? Him and Nikki Lyons. So it's. I mean,
Okay. Well, that will. I don't think a run as NXT champion would hurt him. I think that would be, if they're not going to put him on the main roster, it wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing if they upgraded him to the World Championship.
I think that they would. I mean, just because he has the charisma, and they need that. And if he goes on SmackDown, you don't want him to be in the way of Cody and Roman and Rock and Solo and all. You know what I'm saying?
I kind of see. I definitely understand where you're coming from, but doesn't it excite you to have Roman Reigns hit into Oberfemi? Cody Rhodes versus Oberfemi. We don't know where his allegiance lies. Maybe he'll fuck up Solo as well. You know, he could be that. I think we could both agree that he's the new Brock Lesnar at this point. So
Yes.
you have everything going on, and it seems symmetrical, and then he's there, and he fucks it all up because he's a force of nature.
Mm-hmm.
Quite literally an F5.
I mean, he is, and I think it's just a matter of letting him build that lane. Because the problem is, if he gets to SmackDown, they're gonna be like, eventually, they're gonna be like, when is he gonna get there? So let him build the arc to get there.
I don't think you need to build an arc, honestly. I think you just put him on, let him go. I kind of love
That's what I mean, but that's his arc. Put him on, let him go past.
Right.
Because even if you do that on SmackDown, when is he going to get the Roman? Ooh, or when is he going to get the LA Knight? Ooh, you know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, even Brock Lesnar, it only took him 6 months to win the World Championship, so.
Right. And this, on Raw, he can fly under the radar because Gunther is going to have that belt for feels like 3 years. And and then you do your move. That is how that goes.
Well, speaking of doing your move, Ruby Soho,
Oh, Ruby Soho.
she officially gave birth to a new baby girl. Her name is Evie. So congratulations on Ruby Soho for finally getting over her 9-month injury. We hope to see her back in the ring sooner rather than later.
Congrats to Ruby Soho.
And Angelo Dawkins as it's not Angelo Dawkins. It's not the
Angelo Dawkins. I was like, what?
Angelo Carter? What is his name? Angelo something.
Tony Angelo? Maybe it's Tony D. Let me stop. Let me stop because that's how shit starts. You end up getting canceled because we try to figure out who baby it is.
Angelo Parker. There you go.
There we go. Related to Peter Parker?
For contact, sure, why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Spider-Man cousin. There you go.
What the fuck are we doing? But yeah.
Congratulations. On seriousness, congratulations.
If there's anything you'd like to go over, I think that will conclude our coverage of the news.
I mean, we didn't win a long time with news. There was so much news. I don't know. It's like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Dude.
It was a
I mean, I feel like Alani Jordan after the gauntlet match. Jesus Christ. With the news.
She dropped the title, if I'm not mistaken, no?
Yes, to Fallon Henley, which is crazy because I thought it would have been JC Jane, but that's a whole. Yeah.
And after you watch Tatum Paxley and Wendy Chu, like, your night is good. You're done for the night. It's time to retire.
Aww, I like that. See, Indy Hartwell, don't cry because it's over, not because it happened. Look at that girl.
Hell yeah.
And then in other news, Samantha Irvin's Twitter fingers is not getting over well with the company. So yeah, that coming back shit might not happen. You can leave. Hey, you can leave good and still be like, yeah. See, Baron Corbin, it's been real, and I appreciate everyone who supported me.
That one person that supported him.
Keep in mind, he was a Money in the Bank winner, sir. Like, he was.
Yeah. He was Kurt Angle's last match.
Didn't he win the... No, he did not. That was Madcap Moss. No, I thought Andre...
Yeah, he's won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. If
Thank
that
you.
means anything in 2024.
It meant a lot for Jey Uso.
Okay, but... But, I mean, like, who else?
Bronson Reed won this year. Mojo, Matt Hardy, Braun, Jay, Madcap. Lashley, it feels backwards. Big Show is just a better than the Cap. Cesaro, we thought that shit was like, man.
Yeah. You would have thought that was the start, but no. And now he's eating cannolis.
The combat one. There you go.
Yep.
There you go.
Right. That will conclude the news in this episode as a whole. Thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, both on YouTube and Castbox. This was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. Join us this Tuesday as we interview Thomas Ramsey. This Wednesday as we interview Shameka. And join us every Tuesday and Wednesday for new incredible interviews. And follow at Wrestling with E, both on X, Reddit, and Instagram for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing, the links to those interviews, and so much more. Follow me personally at JamesJ993. Where can we find Kaliko?
I am Kaliko. You know what we forgot?
Yeah.
WWE's coming to the SmackDown's coming to San Diego, baby. I think it's January, February. I can't even remember the goddamn. I was so happy. I just didn't even know. I was just like, SmackDown San Diego? Shit.
That sounds like more of Kaliko news than wrestling news.
That is wrestling news, sir. How dare you? How dare you, sir? Kick is gonna sell, man. SmackDown. January 17th. There we go.
Sweet.
Whew.
For Kaliko
Fucking
Johnson.
happy as a kid and shit. Big as shit. That's how happy.
For Kaliko Yachts and Scooter Dust, I'm James Shea, and this has been Wrestling with Entertainment.
Happy as a pig as shit. Chief is coming to Dago.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.